Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 5. It is called Is There in Truth No Beauty? So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. First things first, they were being cheeky in this episode, because they were using a guest star who they've used before for a different character, and I immediately got distracted by it and went, wait, is that maybe the same person we had last season? And it wasn't.
No, no, it's not.
But yeah, Dr. Miranda Jones. They kept calling her Dr. Jones, by the way, which kept making me think of Indiana Jones. It was weird. But obviously that didn't exist yet, so they had no reason to.
Oh, no, no reason to shy away from it.
Yeah, but she's played by Deanna Muldaur, who was in season 2. She was in return. She was, if you remember the episode where the three alien entities wanted to take over Kirk, Spock, and then.
Yeah.
The female crew member. The female crew member was also her.
Yeah.
That was that episode. So and she's instantly recognizable as well. It wasn't even like it's not even been that long since that episode, really.
I feel like they should have addressed it, been like, "Hey, you look similar to a crew member."
Nah, too many TV shows did this back in the day.
That's just true.
We don't accept it now, but there was a time when they would pull this shit all the time.
They would.
So it's not a big deal, but it's immediately stuck out to me. But anyway. The premise, just for the record, she also ends up in Next Generation as a different character as well.
Oh, really?
When she's older, yeah, she's the replacement Doctor for season 2, and then they realised that no one liked her character, and they brought back the original Doctor for season 3.
Oh, I look forward to that.
So I look forward to that. But anyway, so the premise of this episode is that we have this species, which for the first time in a while, maybe ever, we have an alien species that is not humanoid in some way.
Definitely not ever. We've had a bunch.
Well, it's been a while.
It's been a while, definitely.
It's
but
usually
definitely not ever.
humanoid. It's usually humanoid aliens.
It usually is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, it depends. I mean, are you counting like the
Like the gaseous thing that we had, that was keeping the other guy alive.
Oh sure, yeah.
I can like that. That's the first one that
Okay,
springs
there's
to
a few.
mind. But...
There's a few, but I mean, it's usually humanoid because we always joke about how.
Oh yeah, far more often than not.
Yeah, but hey, so this was generally an interesting idea in terms of what this species was. So it basically is a species that, and obviously the name comes from kind of like what it's Medusa, right? So you got Medusa, and this race is called the Medusans, which are basically this species that are very intellectual. Like they're off the charts. They're arguably like the more intelligent race in the galaxy, but human beings, if they look at them, will go insane.
Yeah.
So
hence Medusa.
Hence Medusa. Very simple idea, and they're transporting this ambassador who's going elsewhere with this Dr. Miranda Jones. She is going to attempt to mind meld. More on that later. She's going to link her mind with him. That takes a little bit of explanation because she's not Vulcan. That's something we should make clear right away. She is a human being. Vulcans cannot stand looking at them either, but they can at least use a visor to kind of shield themselves, and they can withstand it with that. Humans can't withstand it even with a visor. The human being looks at it, doesn't matter what they're wearing in their eyes.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone. So yeah, it's funny actually because the premise kind of evolves so much throughout the episode that I feel like. I mean, that's where it starts. Is okay. There's a transporting that. I guess you'd say. So she has telepathic abilities, and she overhears telepathically that someone is planning on committing a murder, which is actually very similar to a very good episode of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer called Earshot.
Yes, very good.
But yeah, so she overhears someone's going to commit a murder. It turns out to be her sort of like scientist helper dude, Larry, who's come with them, who's in love with her.
Who's an engineer for one of the original designers of the engine.
Oh yeah, because Scotty's all starstruck. He's like, oh, it's a rare pleasure to meet someone who designed the Enterprise. Like he's all excited. But he reveals he's in love with her. He's madly in love with her, and he's jealous that she's going to go off and just be with with Kolos, his name is, and he wants to try and kill Kolos, and then he sees him, goes insane, gets crazy, tries to like mess up the ship, which does he actually drives the ship so fast in just a direction that they end up completely on uncharted space with no idea which direction leads back the way.
Yeah,
And
they're literally outside their own galaxy.
yeah, they're like there's no point of reference. They don't know how to get back. That's where they end up, and then it becomes about Spock mind melding and linking with Kolos so that he can share his knowledge because they've got better navigational skills so that they can fix the problem. And then it becomes can we save Spock's life, because Spock ends up seeing the Kolos when he goes back. So the plot kind of evolves through a bunch of stages throughout the episode. So did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy Is there in Truth No Beauty?
This one's not bad.
Yeah,
there's things I dislike, but
yeah.
it's overall pretty good.
I think it's pretty good as well. I do think I have some criticisms. I think there's a couple of really cringeworthy scenes when it comes to the dialogue. After they first come on the ship, Kolos is just in he's in a box, protective box in quarters, so he's not there. But there's like a dinner scene where they've got Miranda, and I don't know why, but for some reason, this is like probably the most sexist scene that Star Trek's ever had.
It's not good, is it? And it's not the only time in this episode either that it's like this.
It's not. It's weird. And it's funny because it was making me think as I was watching. Given all the messaging of Star Trek, it's a bit of a sausage fest. Now I get that. Just when it was made, that was basically probably all the world.
That was it. Yeah.
They were answering to a network. There was. I don't want to quite say there was rules. There was unspoken rules of what you were supposed to be allowed to do and not. But it was making me think of, it's a little bit of a sausage fest. It's not really, you've got Uhura, but she's like not necessarily one of the main characters. Obviously, this is something that, say what you want about Discovery, nice diverse cast of all
absolutely.
types.
It's undeniable.
Right, but during this scene, at one point Kirk's making a toast, and he actually says out loud, "To the most beautiful woman who's ever stepped onto the Enterprise," and I'm like, what? When did we get to that? Like, why are you saying that to her?
Yeah, and there's later on where like the messaging's kind of all over the place. He's saying to us like, "But look, I know you like talking to this Carlos dude, but someday you're gonna want someone who looks like you."
Yeah, you want someone attractive, because he even admits in that dinner scene, "Oh yeah, maybe one of our last prejudices is that we're attracted to beauty and we are repelled by ugliness." And I'm like, okay, that's an interesting idea to play with.
Just me, though, when he's saying, "Oh, you want someone who looks just like you," like it almost felt a bit racist. I don't know. I don't know if I'm reading into it, but just the way he's saying it, I'm like, cause
I can see where you're coming from. That never jumped to my mind because I just thought he meant human, but
no, but that's the thing. I'm so used to other species filling in for other races as the analogy.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Sci-fi as a whole, that it's always on my mind when something like that's said.
I don't think that was the intent. Certainly,
I don't think it was, but it kind of came off like that to me.
The messaging's all over the place, and so much of it is like, "Oh, why are you going to do this thing and spend your time with all these aliens? You're an attractive young woman. Won't you want love soon?" That's something Kirk says as well in that scene in the botany part of the ship.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, but you're young and beautiful. Will love not be on the table soon?" And I know he's always kind of flirty, and it's always this thing where he's trying to seduce people. And I did like this kind of twist here that he's trying to seduce her, and she doesn't give a shit because she's blind. That's like a twist later on in the episode. Is it partly why she's suitable for, apart from the fact that she's telepathic, which was just a natural ability. She's a human being who's got because that's the thing. She comes in at the start, and she's not wearing a visor like Spock, and I'm like, why is she not wearing a visor? Like, hell, even we just got told that humans can't withstand this at all. Spock's wearing a visor. But
it felt like a weird plot hole at first, didn't it?
It did, but obviously as the episode went on, it explained that it was like, oh no, she's telepathic, so she's trained on Vulcan to like hone her abilities, because they're all like that, so they can teach her properly.
They're good at this stuff.
And then obviously we find out later on she's blind. She can actually see. She's got essentially computerized Daredevil vision because her dress, all the sequins in her dress, are actually high tech.
Yes, exactly.
Stuff.
It's this almost like force field, like sort of the way they talk about it, that kind of just like tells her everything.
Yeah, I was getting that each one's a sensor, and it was just kind of like calculating distance from things that she can touch and hearing and not hearing, but well, which is actually because at one point she says, "Do you want to know how fast your heart's beating?" And I was like, why does she have sensors for that? That's sound. Your sound's fine.
No, I mean...
Your hearing's fine. Why?
No, no, that's true. I'm just trying to see if I can think of it. I mean,
And if we're saying that our senses are that good, what? So they gave her essentially X-ray vision. She can see the heart through his chest.
exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I was like, that's the only way I can think it, but that doesn't make any sense.
I'm just saying. Like, it felt like a weird thing. Um, so yeah, weird. Some weird ideas there. I actually think she's the worst part of the episode. And that sounds harsh because I think the problems with her are almost everyone else around her. And
It's the way everyone reacts to her and talks about her
Yeah.
and talks to her
Yeah,
that is the problem.
so she's the epicenter of everything that's wrong in the episode, but it's not her herself that's the problem. It's everyone else in the dialogue they're given in response to her that feels really weird, dated. But it's not even just that it's dated; it feels inconsistent with the way these characters normally act with other people. You know, past guest stars. You know, even in the past when Kurt's gotten flirty, he's not just stood out like. Literally in the first scene he has with her, he's like, "Ah, the most beautiful woman to ever be in the Enterprise," and you know McCoy's sitting there going, "Yes, yes," and she leaves the scene and he's like, "Oh, she has a way, didn't she?" And Kirk's like, "Yeah, she's quite a woman, McCoy." They're sitting talking about how hot she is, and I'm like, "This is weird. Why are we doing this?"
Yeah, it goes full boys club, doesn't it?
It does. It's bizarre. That said, there's a couple of great laughs from McCoy. One's in the dinner scene, the highlight of the dinner scene for sure. She mentioned she like, trained on Vulcan. She grew up there essentially, and it just cuts to McCoy and he's like, "Poor girl."
It's the way he's so serious as he says it.
That said, the funniest line by far is so Crazy Man, after he's looked at the Medusa thing, he like we get this like weird like POV camera thing with these extreme angles to sort of like show how like crazy they are because it's like sort of emulating their wacky vision. And he's like fighting Scotty and he's like driving the ship and they've got out to like unknown space outside the galaxy. All right, the only way we can solve this is to possibly mind meld Spock and Kolos. So they've got a little like parting in the bridge now where the box is around the corner. Spock melds, he comes back out, and it's like he's both Spock and this Kolos, so there's more emotion than normal, but he's still got Spock's knowledge and memories and everything.
I know
right?
I know exactly which joke you're going with.
And Spock, he quotes something. He quotes it's Hemingway or something like that. And McCoy goes, "That's not Spock," and he sort of turns to Kirk, "That's not Spock," and then he's like, "I think you'll find I am," or whatever he says. He says something else.
He says so really dead, cold logical.
Yeah, and then he turns around the exact same way with a smell and goes, "Now that's Spock!" And immediately. It was the way it played. Do you know what it was? It was the rhythm of it that made it funny. Because it was like, "That's not Spock, blah, 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 blah. That's Spock!" Like,
no, it really worked. It was a great moment.
It was really funny. And I think a lot of it is down to the cast here. I think that's what really made it funny, was the timing. That
they know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah. But the reason why, as much as it sounds like we've kind of nitpicked a lot of the episode, like, the reason why I like it a lot is because I think the crisis they get into is actually really interesting.
Mm.
I think the idea of going mad when you see this thing, really interesting. I think Spock melding with it, like, all these things are really cool ideas, and they're mostly pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and you even have like the moment afterwards where crisis averted, and Kirk's like, right, okay, you got to give that body back to just Spock now. And there's almost a moment of hesitation.
I like that moment as well, because the way I read that is, Kolos, like, he has a moment of hesitation, and he goes, "Yeah, you're quite right, I should." I mean, and he says, "Oh, so soon." But I like that he's actually an intelligent being because I can see the thought process in his eyes. I can see, good acting by Nimoy, of course, but I can see him thinking, "I really like this, but he's right. If I stay in this body longer, I'm going to be tempted to not give it back. If I don't give it up now, I'm going to have maybe give it a temptation." So I like that because it made him appear smarter. It really sold the intelligence of this being, that he considered that, realized that was a potential problem.
Yeah, it makes him a rational, logical being, like a person. Not just some creature, not some godlike entity.
Yeah.
It was just another species that, has never communicated with us in this way before.
Well, yeah, which, by the way, I love so much that it didn't turn out to be evil, or didn't turn out to have a motive, or...
No, it was genuinely this ambassador. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to help, because, hey, I don't want to be out here either."
Yeah. Going back to problems, though, just so we kind of glossed over, the other dude's in love with her. Anyway, because at first, like, see when she's at the dinner table and she just hears, oh, someone close by wants to commit a murder. I was like, oh, that's an interesting plot for an episode. And they're going to try and murder the ambassador, and it's going to be about protecting him. Like,
I'm like, and I was going, how do you murder that thing?
yeah, and I thought, oh, that's a good premise for an episode. I'm down with that. And obviously, it kept changing, and luckily, it kept changing into things that were also cool. So I wasn't really complaining.
It had a really good flow to it, yeah.
Yeah, but the scene where like he comes to her place, like, oh, I thought that dinner would never end, and she's like, no, I quite enjoyed it, and then he confesses his love. He's like, I'll get down on one knee, I get down on two knees. I love you. You shouldn't be with that thing. You should be with me. Can he ever give you this? And he kisses her, and you know, like this was another scene I thought was really cringeworthy. I
agree.
I think largely because before this scene, he seemed like a perfectly reasonable person, and then all of a sudden he was just off the charts, like, you know, raving.
Yeah, and then it's like, you're the one who's going to be a murderer.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought, okay, all right, so that's not going to be a mystery anymore. I mean, even though it kind of makes sense, he's the only other character it probably could be, unless we're going to implicate, like, some red shirt.
Which I thought was another fair option that it could have gone, because, you know, maybe it was going to swerve me and it wasn't going to be, you know, they weren't going to try and murder the Kolos. It was just, she picked up on a thought about murder, who happened to be on the ship, you know, because it could have been anyone.
Yeah, and again, idea to idea, really interesting stuff. Some really good moments with Spock, McCoy. It's just a damn shame the weird gender politics stuff that's in play in this episode. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, there's just moments where I'm like, this is just weird and wrong. But the actual episode as a whole is pretty solid.
Yeah. Because it almost, I mean, it's like a smidge away from just saying, oh, you're a woman, you should be getting married and having kids. Why do you want a career? It's like a smidge away from that.
It's not quite there, but it's so close.
Yeah, very strange. And obviously, the fact that she's blind, it's like, okay, that's the... Because normally that's like maybe the person that would be, oh, that's the secret weapon against a Medusa. Because Medusa's normally evil, of course, and, you know, when you're doing classic stories about it. But here, this is like, no, this is why she can bond with the Medusa, because she doesn't have that threat of going mad because she can't look at it.
Yeah.
That gives her almost a tactical advantage. Well, the tactical is the wrong word, because it's more, because obviously the moral here is that there's more to life and beauty. There's more to love. There's more to connections. There's more to bond. Because that's the other thing that I really like about this episode, is that it kind of promotes the idea that working together is the way forward. Because the whole thing is like Kolos and Spock coming together to solve this problem is, you know, it is literally two beings coming together to, like, you know, so it's obviously the morals quite clearly, you know, work together, don't, you know, fight, you know, we can come together. So the little caught hiccup there, but no, I really like that. Again, that's kind of the forward thinking Star Trek, the Federation, the future. Like, you know, this is how we make things better, as by coming together, working together, you know, combining our strengths, and going forward like that.
Definitely. It's just a shame it murkies it up at times. Like, because it gets there by the end. You know, you like they recognize why she is interested in Kolos now. You know, they kind of get the relationship a bit more because they've spoken to him themselves. But because they were so strongly against it, I think it feels a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't think it murkies what I was talking about there with the coming together.
No.
It murkies the whole idea of like it's just the physical appearance not being important.
Right.
It really murkies that up because they care so much about it.
They do.
Throughout the whole episode. Main cast, you know, the guys in love with her, everyone. Like, it's so important to everyone. No one can understand it. It's just, I don't know.
That's true.
So,
it's weird. So, have you read the wiki page on this one?
I haven't. No. You got some tidbits?
Look, I got one that made me laugh. So it was something I noticed during the episode in the dinner scene. They keep talking about this, this little symbol that Spock's wearing.
Oh no! I did see this. I did see this.
This cracked me up because Roddenberry had a mail order thing for props where sell the replicas of it, and he had this. He was like, "Oh, I want to sell this," so that's going in the episode, so I can and being talked about so that people will want to buy it.
And Leonard Nimoy actually objected to this,
and Shatner and others apparently, and the version we got is the symbol being used in a less prominent way. This is the toned down version. I'm like, wow, okay. Because when I was watching, I was like, they're really going on about this like badge.
Yeah, Roddenberry obviously had some forward-thinking ideas, but he still, still had
He's a
to
shill.
Yeah, still had to shill his product, get some money, because he probably knew the show was on its way out. He's like, okay, I need to set up some props so I can keep selling these for you.
Oh, damn right. He knew exactly what was happening. He was like, right, okay, come on.
Actually, interesting.
Let's get this going.
Here's an interesting thing. Actually, I was thinking. I feel like there's a scene in this episode. I think it's when Crazy Dude's running down the corridor in the Enterprise. I never actually realized how long that set was.
No, that's a fair point.
Because you actually watch him run down quite a bit of it. So you know it's not like a... Because sometimes with these things they'll have like a mirror
Just
or something.
hide the angles, yeah.
Or they'll have a mirror to extend it beyond kind of what it actually is. But no, this actually went right round in a nice big semicircle. It was really... I mean, I'm assuming it's always been that big. We've just always just seen parts of
Glimpses of it.
Yeah.
No, I thought the same in the engine room. You know, where Scott is there with him, and it's as Kirk sends out the message going, "Oh, we got to escape prisoner. He's not to be trusted. He's dangerous." And this is where we get their little confrontation, their tussle, and the camera angles are all kind of all over the place. It shows much more of the room than I normally see.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So.
But yeah. So no, I mean, I would err on this is pretty good. It just has some problematic elements that you kind of have to disclaimer before you
do,
watch
but
it.
it's mostly enjoyable if you can get past that.
All the sci-fi is great. It's just
the romance drama of it, I guess.
Yeah, just the oddly, extremely sexist element of it.
Yeah.
You know, because it almost feels like like it's not a million miles away from a stupid comedy like Shallow Hal or something like that, where it's about, oh, how could the girl be interested in the ugly fat guy? Like, it's not a million miles away from something like that. The way they're treating her, like, oh, you're with that guy? No, come on, be with a hunk. Like you're attractive enough to be with an attractive man. Why are you with that schlub for?
It is a bit, isn't it? Yeah.
And as a pair of schlubs, I I think we protest against that messaging. Thank you very much.
Speak for yourself.
Oh god, who are you comparing yourself to here?
I am saying nothing.
You look like the physical embodiment of a character from Sesame Street, so don't you even start.
No, like I said, speak for yourself. I will speak shit about myself all day, but speak for yourself.
Oh dear. Anyway, I guess that's episode. What were we on? 5? Star Trek.
I think so. That sounds about right.
So yeah, as always, let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel over at patreon.com/mailfuzztv, you can do that over there. There's a link in the description. But otherwise, that's it. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. We'll see you next time.